What is up, everybody? Steve here. Welcome back to my channel. Going over your 2021 rental car fleet and how to make it run smoothly and basically grow a business out of it. First off, hope you guys had a good 4th of July. I know it's a little bit late, but hope you had a good 4th. Second off, if you haven't liked, subscribed, done all that stuff, do it right now. Make sure you guys are following along. I got some crazy stuff that's coming up for you guys. It's going to help out tremendously for you guys and your fleets. And also just content. Come on, let's just face it. You got to come back for the content, period. So without further ado, let's jump into it. All right, so we had a good month last month. In June, it was pretty good. You guys remembered I had that Mazda 6 that was out for 7 weeks. Now, I always tell you guys, make sure you know that terms of service. Make sure you guys know the rules of the game inside and out. So I had this renter come back. Everything was good, right? Car comes back a couple days early, relatively on time as far as when he decided to drop it off. It was actually in the middle of 4th of July, so I wasn't too worried about it. I let him drop it off, and I was going to come back the 5th, come back, you know, do whatever I had to do. And he drops off the car. Boom, notification comes up. I got reviewed, this and that. And I haven't really even checked the review yet. But I get there the following day. And this car is, I won't say it's thrashed, but it's definitely, there's stains on the seats. There's extra stuff in there. He just left stuff in there, right? Just not even that big of a deal. And I wasn't too upset about it, but there's things that kind of get me. When you leave stains on the seats, there was a lighter in there, so some, it looked like all the insides to a Swisher Sweet, you know, the little cigarettes, and it didn't smell in there. He actually left the back windows down cracked just a little bit. I'm not sure if he actually did smoke in there. Regardless, I go through, I check everything out, and I wasn't too upset about it. The stains were what they were. I still got to get them detailed. I scrubbed them out what I could with what I had. Everything else, wash, vacuum, all that stuff, not a big deal, right? But since it did come back dirty, I did go with the theory of, you know what, I'm still going to hit you with, oh, and it came back with a quarter tank of fuel. Get a quarter tank of fuel, and Turo will tack on that $10 for the inconvenience fee, so it was like 52 something for the fuel. And even though you could tell there was ash in little places, the inside of the car didn't smell, but there was stains, there was all this stuff. So instead of tacking on fee after fee after fee, I was kind of generous with it. At least I feel like I felt like I was pretty reasonable with it. So you did have the car for 7 weeks, and he came back in. He did have to do the oil change, which said, oh, mechanic said that it's 2,000 miles over the oil change, which I don't know how they was able to really prove that. It doesn't say anything on the dash, no visual warnings, nothing like that, but he did say that a check engine light came on. I asked him to upload pictures that the check engine light came on. Didn't get anything. He just took it in the oil change, and of course he's a couple hundred miles away for this month and a half, 2 months, so you know, whatever, send it, take it to the oil change, I'll pay you back, whatever. I'm just trying to make it easier for you. That's kind of how I go about all this. I'm not obviously gonna go get taken advantage of, but I'll make it right for you, right? So he takes it, gets the oil change. So get towards the end of the trip, he's hitting me up, hey, are you still good to get squared up with me with the oil change? And I'm like, yeah, for sure, send me the number, I'll Zelle you some money, Venmo, whatever. Which I will tell you right there, Turo doesn't like that. It looks like it's a very gray area of operating outside of the Turo platform, so just be very careful with that. Basically keep everything on the platform. And I'll tell you why this actually ended up kind of almost biting me in the butt. But so we went through all this, he dropped off the car, and like I said, I hit him with a $100 cleaning fee because I did have to clean the seats. I vacuumed, whatever, all that stuff's not a big deal. I threw away all of his trash. The fuel, so 50 bucks, a little over 150 bucks. Hit him with this charge, right? And what happens? Of course, he denies the whole thing. And then on top of that, this is where I say you guys got to know what's going on and know these keywords. So he ended up throwing out a few keywords. He refused the whole fee, claims that there was nothing, you know, nothing wrong. Specific wording was, the car left me stranded, broke down, wobbling in the steering, this and that. And we had an open communication the whole time, and never once was any of this brought up. So on top of that, he says I should get my deposit back, and I was on the road, and I thought that Turo emailed me and said, hey, he wanted his full refund, which that was not the case. He only wanted a refund for the oil change. So what I did, I went through all my screenshots of the text messages between the renter and I, the Zelle payment sent, and on the text message saying, hey, payment was sent, did you get it? And he he confirmed it. So with all this stuff, Turo saw that there was a few key words on there, and I honestly think that he did this. And you'll see it a lot with renters. They'll go through the Reddit pages and figure out how to get free rentals and stuff like this, which it really sucks. This is where you got to be on point. So I have over 70 trips with this one profile, right? And this guy comes in, this is his first rental, and he does all this, and then Turo says, hey, we want to know, are you willing to pay for this? You don't have to. This was for the oil change. You don't have to, but you know, just let us know you got 24 hours. And in addition to that, this is Turo's words, because of the safety concern, we are going to delist your car, and you need to go get an inspection done with it and make sure that it is legit and operational for the renters, which I get. They're trying to look for the safety of their renters. They're trying to look for whatever they need to, just make sure that everybody is safe and taken care of. So this absolutely just got me. So I'm like, okay, all right, here we go. I wrote back to Turo, and I was very, very respectful. You make sure you guys always stay this way. But I'm like, no, I'm going to contest this. First of all, I paid for the oil change. Look at my trip history. Look at my cars. You can tell that I have never had any kind of issues like this. And so kind of rethink all this. How do we want to go about this? Are we going to take the word over one renter that's trying to basically get out of a $150 fee on a little over $2,000 trip? Once again, it's one of the shooters, so it's a cheaper car for 2 months. But he's trying to get out of this. And so this was basically, I was able to kind of push back a little bit respectfully. Make sure you guys are always doing this respectfully. Don't go in automatically assuming you know what's up and you're going to just get my way and I demand this and that. No, go through, be respectful, figure out what you need to do, and just kind of lay out the lines, like for who's going to be paying for this inspection that you want to have done, even though I have shown and proven that I run a legit fleet. Not to mention the last trip that it went out on, I didn't have any issues with, nothing whatsoever, and there wasn't more than 5 miles between the end of the last trip and the beginning of this trip. So it's not like there was any damages from me in the same car. So how are we going to go about this? And it was all just because somebody didn't want to pay for their cleaning fee, which he clearly knows that he was in the wrong here. It's just no one wants to take ownership for their things anymore. So this is where I've got to say, you guys have to pay attention, because man, I'll tell you what, if I would have got stuck with this, and at first when I read the first message, when I first got the Turo message, I thought he was trying to get a refund for the whole trip, and I was thinking, oh my God, I swear if I end up out this $2,000 from this car, I'm gonna be so mad. But that wasn't the case. He just wanted to get paid back for the oil change, which it had already happened. And I even asked Turo, I'm like, hey, is this an auto message? Because this is kind of BS. Like what? So I think it was him just trying to get another $50, $60 out of the oil change that I had already given him. But just make sure you guys know, you gotta stick up for yourself. You're gonna have crappy renters. And what sucks is this guy extended like multiple times. Once again, no issues. Hasn't said anything as far as, you know, hey, this car left me stranded in the middle of the desert like he claimed with Turo. And even with Turo, they said, hey, there's wobbling in the front end. I'm like, yeah, that's not due from an oil change. But okay, let me check it out. And I basically just told him, me as a host, as a qualified host, I can work on my own equipment. So what forms do you want? And I also drove this car at legal highway speeds, and I didn't have any issues. So I want to see some kind of documentation, something showing that this guy actually got stranded and that he had the car inspected for the wobbling in the steering and the front end. Where are all these allegations coming from, and how can he prove it? And basically with all that stuff, they just kind of shut it down and said, okay, you know what, we'll take your word for this. Now, I don't want to be bluffing. I make sure that you're not one of these people that bluffs and you're just trying to get whatever you can, just saying whatever you need to get what you need, what you want. Make sure it's actually legit. And I really do go through all my cars to make sure that it is totally legit, but just be careful. And like I said, make sure you know the terms and service and what you can and can't get away with. And same with the renters. There are some key words, which it sucks because it'll happen. It's gonna happen. There's some key words that some of these rentals will say just to get your car delisted, and Turo all over you just trying to figure out what's going on, even though you know that you're legit. These renters will do this and they're able to get free rentals out of it, or at least try and manipulate the system and hopefully get free rentals. Once again, know the terms of service, know your equipment, and just give them that customer service, but also be willing to stick up for yourself when and if the time comes. Hope this helped you guys out a little bit. Like, subscribe, I got a bunch more stuff coming out. I'll also get a couple of guys on here who had a lot more issues than this right off the bat. I swear they went through every scenario you could go through in the first 5 rentals that they had with their car. It's a trip. I don't know how it happened, but it happened, and just that's all it is. pay attention what's going on. There's tons of people out here, tons of ways to get help. Make sure you guys reach out. You can also reach out to me if you need to. I'll leave a link below. But other than that, we will catch you guys on the next one. Go out there, keep grinding. Later, y'all.